Chapter 2, Skyline Road. Growing up in the northwest Kansas, Clyde had learned to work at an early age. When he wasn't working, he loved being with his old horse, Jack, and riding bareback. Jack never wore ribbons at the county fair, but he didn't need to. The creature was the most faithful, gentle workhorse any farm family could ever own. Clyde's parents, Melvin and Georgiana Peters, labored long hours on their 1,500-acre wheat ranch to provide for Clyde and his older sister, Joyce. Late one lazy summer afternoon, Clyde climbed off old Jack and sat on a bale of hay, watching a red-tailed hawk riding an updraft. "When I grow up, I'll fly like a hawk. I might even jump off a cloud." "Clyde! Hey Clyde, it's milking time!" Dad's voice interrupted the boy's daydreaming. "I'm coming, Dad!" Reluctantly, he headed toward the big barn. Hoofs pounded the cement as cows walked into their stations. As Dad started milking, Clyde measured out oats and barley for each animal. After he had the milking machines hooked up, Dad walked over and patted his son on the shoulder. "Sure appreciate your help, son. Someday you'll run this farm. The cows will be yours. 1,500 acres will be a great inheritance. Oh, your sister Joyce will get her share, but you're the one to work this farm." The boy stared into the soft brown eyes of the family's favorite Jersey horse, then reached out and scratched her face. "You're lucky. You've had all that good hay, and I brought you dessert. How do you like your barley and oats?" Clyde moved on to the next station. "Dad wants me to grow up and run the farm. What I want to do is fly. I'll travel through the sky like a bird." Classes at the little country school in Edson, Kansas didn't always interest Clyde. It was World War II, and stories of paratroopers jumping behind enemy lines fired his imagination. Riding home from school one spring afternoon, Clyde looked at a book with pictures of men parachuting. "That's what I want to do!" He jumped off the yellow school bus and raced to the house. His mom, busy in the kitchen, didn't notice when he sneaked into the closet and hurried outside with her new black silk umbrella, opening and closing it as he ran. This will make a good parachute. Finding a ladder, he climbed up on the chicken house. Cautiously, he looked over the edge from the top of the gable roof and took a deep breath. "It's a long way to the ground." As he crawled to the lower edge, he told himself, "Nothing will happen. My parachute's already open." Clinging to the umbrella, he leaped away from the roof. Scared chickens scrambled in every direction. Suddenly, the umbrella turned inside out and Clyde fell like a rock, hitting the ground hard. When he looked at the umbrella, he saw that the hinges ribs were bent and fabric was torn. "Dad will get me for this." Legs hurting, he stood and limped away to hide the umbrella until he could put it back where he found it. A week later, Georgiana Peters discovered the damage and told her husband. He waited until supper time for a talk with his son. "Clyde, do you know anything about your mother's umbrella?" "Yes, Dad, it's in the closet." "I know where it is, son, but it's broken. Do you know anything about it?" "I couldn't help it. I used it and, well, you see, it just turned inside out and I fell on top of it. I don't know how to fix it." "Clyde, this jumping has to stop before you break your neck. Our hired man saw you jump off the chicken house roof." "I'm sorry, Dad. I'm glad you didn't break any bones." Melvin Peters looked at his boy. "You are never to do this again. Although you're only a kid, I've been letting you drive the tractor. I want you to tend to the business and grow up to run this farm." The next February turned bitterly cold. The heaviest snowstorm in years created an emergency at the Peters farm. Esther Elliott, the wife of their hired hand, went into labor. Huge snowdrifts blocked all roads for miles around. No vehicle could get Mrs. Elliott to the hospital. But the fierce winds blew most of the snow off a newly planted wheat field near the house, giving Mrs. Peter an idea. Georgiana phoned her husband, Watson, who managed the local airport and owned his own plane. "Could you fly in and pick up a patient and take her to the hospital?" "More bad weather's on the way," he said, "but I think I can make it if I hurry." Clyde watched Watson circle the farm and land his Piper Cub in the wheat field. Esther Elliott's husband helped her into the back seat and the plane took off. She arrived at the hospital in time to give birth to a healthy baby. "Wow! Look what an airplane can do," Clyde thought. "I'll be a pilot and help people like this." One day, Mrs. Peters found a coupon advertising the Junior Voice of Prophecy Bible Correspondence course and showed it to Clyde. He looked it over and said, "Sure, Mom, I'll study the lessons." He mailed the coupon and lessons began arriving from Los Angeles. One lesson called the attention to the fourth commandment. "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day." Exodus 20:8-11. Clyde read more. "This is love, that we walk according to his commandments." 2 John 6. He took the lesson to the kitchen where his mother worked preparing a meal. "Mom, they're asking what I want to do about keeping the Sabbath. What shall I say?" She hesitated a minute. "Just tell them you're thinking about it." Bible-believing Baptists, Georgiana and Melvin, did a lot of thinking too. After attending evangelistic meetings in a tent, Clyde, at 13, and his family were baptized into the Goodland, Kansas Seventh-day Adventist Church. The new religion emphasized Christian education, and Clyde went to study at Champion Academy, where he worked on the school farm. He returned home every summer to help his parents. At 16, he got his own car. After working all day on the farm, he would drive to the Goodland Airport and watch airplanes to earn extra money. I'll learn to fly and become a crop duster, he decided. Without telling his parents, he invested every dollar he earned in flying lessons. Realizing that he couldn't keep it a secret forever, he finally spoke with his father. "You need to know, Dad, that I'm taking flight instructions. I plan to be a pilot." Melvin Peters winced. "What should I do with my son who doesn't want to farm?" Georgiana, hearing the conversation, asked, "How can you possibly think of making flying a career?" Back in academy for senior year, Clyde worked 3 hours a day as monitor in the boys' dorm. His best grades were in math and mechanics. Religious things interested him, and he got fair grades in Bible. When it came to English and history, however, it was passing grades only. At graduation, Clyde listened to every word of HMS Richard's message, the Skyline Road. Only weeks after graduation, he hit his own Skyline Road in his first solo flight. Wheat fields stretched out to the horizon in every direction. His own hand held the controls of the little yellow Champion airplane. Relaxing, he leaned back in the pilot's seat, listening to the steady roar of the engine. "This is what I've longed for, soaring like a bird. Soon I'll have a pilot's license. My life work will revolve around flying." Continue listening.